Episode 5 gave us some beautiful moments between Brian and Ellen, but as fans already guessed, things aren't going to stay sweet for long. Trouble is definitely on the horizon, and episode 6, titled Birthright, is set to shake up every storyline we've been following. The official synopsis teases, Henry continues to look for Julia until a discovery threatens to end his search. That one line already tells us that this episode will be an emotional roller coaster. But before we dive into Henry and Julia, let's talk about the tension brewing between Mert and Brian. Back in episode 5, Mert confessed his love for Ellen once again, believing he still had a chance to win her over at Belton. But Ellen choosing Malcolm Grant in public, only to secretly be with Brian afterwards, was like pouring salt on an open wound. To make things worse, Mert also faced humiliation when he was beaten by Archbug, since he's a rival of Malcolm. So, by the time we reach episode 6, Mert is simmering with anger. The closing scene of episode 5 showed him muttering Ellen's name even as he stood beside Jocasta, his jealousy clear. This sets up a possible confrontation between Mert and Brian. Imagine the scene, Mert demanding, "You knew I loved Ellen. Why did you betray me?" Brian will likely confess that he has always loved Ellen but stayed silent to avoid breaking Mert's heart. Of course, that explanation won't heal the wound right away. A fight between the two seems inevitable. But there's also a softer possibility. If Mert comes to understand just how deeply Ellen loves Brian, something Brian might share when speaking about the intensity of their relationship, Mert could eventually step aside. After all, in the larger Outlander story, Mert has always been a fiercely loyal protector of Brian, Claire, and Jamie. Episode 6 might show the first seeds of that brotherhood, even if it begins with fists and fury. Now let's shift to the main storyline, Henry's desperate search for Julia. In the episode 6 promo, Henry tells Archbug that the person he's looking for isn't just anyone, it's his wife. This is the turning point we've all been waiting for since the beginning. Archbug then introduces him to someone who finally gives him news about Julia's whereabouts. At last, Henry learns the truth. But instead of relief, his discovery only brings new heartbreak. Julia is in the hands of Simon Fraser, and to make things more complicated, she's pregnant. Of course, Henry knows the baby is his. Julia was already expecting before she time traveled, which means she may have lied about Simon being the father in order to survive. Still, the danger remains, Simon is determined to claim her and the child as his own. This is where the episode title, Birthright, becomes clear. Simon wants to secure his legacy by marrying Julia and passing his throne to what he believes is his child. Even though Dana Porter warns him that the baby isn't his, Simon refuses to believe it. His obsession is set to drive the drama of episode 6. The big question is, can Henry save Julia before it's too late? Escape feels like the only option, but pulling it off will be far from easy. The promo hints at Simon preparing for the wedding, which raises the stakes even higher. Meanwhile, Ellen and Brian's romance continues to heat up, but secrecy is becoming harder to maintain. Ellen's hesitation to stay away has already caught Malcolm Grant's attention. On top of that, Mert noticed them together, and the trailer even shows Duval catching Brian and Ellen in a compromising moment, Ellen crying while hastily getting dressed. That scene suggests their love will soon be exposed, pushing Ellen closer to an inevitable marriage with Malcolm. But if there's one thing we've learned, it's that Brian won't easily let her go. He'll likely linger near Castle Leoch, unwilling to give her up, which could spark suspicion and drama. So, episode 6 is shaping up to be explosive. On one side, Henry risks everything to rescue Julia from Simon's grip. On the other, Brian and Ellen's forbidden love edges closer to discovery. Add in Mert's jealousy, and we're looking at an episode filled with passion, betrayal, and high-stakes decisions. What do you think? Will Henry outsmart Simon and save Julia? And will Mert truly step aside for Brian and Ellen, or will their friendship crumble? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on Outlander, Blood of My Blood. So, with episode 6 titled Birthright, fans should get ready for an emotional storm. From Mert and Brian's heated confrontation, to Henry finally learning Julia's fate, and Simon's twisted obsession with power, this chapter promises to push every storyline forward in big ways. But one thing is certain, nothing will come easy for these characters. Henry's love for Julia will be tested like never before, and Brian and Ellen's secret relationship may soon collapse under the weight of discovery. Now it's your turn, what do you think will happen? Will Mert back down and let Brian and Ellen be together? Will Henry succeed in rescuing Julia from Simon's control before the wedding? Drop your predictions in the comments, because episode 6 is shaping up to be one of the most dramatic yet. And as always, if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more Outlander, Blood of My Blood updates. See you in the next one.